Since 1.2, we've had the chance of stumbling upon a biome key. At the time of release, they came in key molds, which is still true for mobile, old-gen consoles, and the 3DS. Getting one of these keys is not easy either, with the drop chance being 1 in 2,500 or a 0.04% chance. I have already made a video on an effective way of getting these keys, so if you're interested, there is a card on screen now, and also a link in the video description. But, if you're going to put in the hours of grinding to get these keys in the first place, which one should you go for? The more basic answer I can give you would be to farm the key for the item that corresponds to your class. For example, a mage might farm for the Rainbow Gun for it being a magic item. But today, I would like to look at this a bit differently and determine overall which is the best biome item. We can first take a look at a raw DPS test I did for each weapon. I have no accessories or armor on, so the weapons have their default damage. I did a vertical test and attempted some horizontal as well, just to see if it made any difference. The vampire knives do not pierce and clock in at a max of 600 DPS on the dummies. Sadly, these knives have the godly modifiers, so the results may be a bit higher than normal. Vertically, however, it did make a bit of a difference and capped at around 800. The Scourge of Corruptor could only go a bit over 200, but it only took into account the spear part of it and not the homing eaters. This was the same case vertically with really no change in the DPS. The Rainbow Gun is a different story, however, because of its ability to pierce, it was able to cap out at a nice 2500 horizontally. Vertically, however, makes a huge difference because it's only hitting one enemy and brings it down to around 400. The Piranha Gun only hooks onto one enemy and capped at a measly 300, which was also the case vertically. Finally, the Frost Hydra staff does not target dummies, and I was unable to get a reading unlike the other weapons. Now that was just raw DPS on dummies, which is far different from actually using the weapon on enemies and with the proper gear. We can first look at the vampire knives, aka the invincible knives. Each knife that hits an enemy will give 7.5% life back from the damage dealt. This means that hitting lots of enemies for high damage can heal the player extremely quickly. Not only do they heal the player, they are also an okay damage dealer until you get to post-Moonlord gear. Next, we take a look at the Scourge of the Corruptor. The unique part about this weapon are the small eaters that come out of the impact of the spear. It does an initial hit and then splits into smaller homing eaters. The key part about this weapon is that the weapon has a fast use time, making it easy to spam the homing eaters. The Rainbow Gun is also unique in the fact that it almost serves as a summon. It leaves a large rainbow trail that stays for 20 seconds before it disappears. Any enemy that steps into the rainbow will quickly regret it, as it deals 45 base damage 5 times a second. I guess you could say they want to taste the rainbow. Next, we take a look at the Piranha Gun. Upon shooting it, a single piranha comes out and latches onto the enemy. Once it has killed that enemy, if you keep holding down the mouse, it will travel to the next closest enemy and only return when none are left. This can be really effective if multiple enemies are on top of each other, because it actually will deal all of them that are on top and nearby. Lastly, we have the poor Frost Hydra staff. The problem with this weapon is that it's not a weapon. Crazy, right? Going up against these actual weapons is a bit unfair, seeing as it's only a summon. This does not mean it's a bad summon, because it's really only topped by the Lunar Staff and Rainbow Crystal. Now, for the final decision, which one of these is truly the best? In my opinion, the top weapon out of these is clear, that being the Vampire Knives. It really only comes down to one reason as well, that being the healing. It was made especially clear in version 1.2.0.3, the knives received a major nerf, yet even after the nerf, they still remain the best biome weapon, and even what I would call endgame tier. And that's about it. I could have covered the items in much more detail, but I felt there was no need for them. The weapons can largely be sorted to the best to worst at first glance or just by using them a bit. But with that being said, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and tell me in the comments if you disagree with my pick. And with nothing else left to say, I will see you guys in the next video. See ya. Can fly.